So, greetings friends and welcome to Dreams Update version 2.49. Friends, in this latest update we've got a whole bunch of new icons. I've kind of categorized them according to theme, just very loosely. And at the top we've got a whole bunch of new fantasy themed ones. We've got weapons, we've got shields. I especially love that there's like a shield and a broken shield, which is great for like, those games where you kind of have like a blue meter that's your shield, or if you want to have effects like, debuffs and all that sort of stuff. So these are really awesome little icons here. And of course for inventories and stuff, the amount of times I've had to make like custom icons with like text displays and like the sort of outlines and all these sorts of things, it's actually nuts. So having some like dedicated and official icons in Dreams is really awesome. Then we've got some time-based ones like Hourglass's calendar and the nice like little Wi-Fi signal. We've got a whole bunch of warnings over here. And as you can see over here, we've also got a blank one, which is great because then you can put on like a grid snap or something like that, copy this over, and you can really make your own sort of warning signs and that sort of a thing. So I might go something like the new bow and arrow. So I'm going to go bow and arrow. Of course, all of these are between the angle brackets, bow and arrow. And then you can be like, okay, sweet, you have a bow and arrow. Then you might want to move this over here, change the color of it, maybe turn off that grid snap, reduce the size of it. And you might also want to, depending on your game, put on always on top. So now you can see it both ways. Of course, if it's off, you might not see it the same. Oh wait, you still do. Okay, sweet. Well, yeah, you can make your own like. Oh wait, you see when I sort of go at a bit of a distance, you don't see it as much. So always on top is the way to go. So yes, friends, this is cool because you can make your own warning signs and that sort of stuff. Moving on, we've got some kind of consumable items here, like potions, which are very cool. I've actually made a potion sculpt that looks just like this one on the left, so very chuffed about that. And then we've got the donuts, and then like a nice diamond. What's cool about the donut one is that they actually overlap. So if you put on a grid snap, and you move this over here, whoops, let me just sort of align them to the same grid quickly. Same grid. And you can see they overlap. So you can't really see the difference if they're both black, but if you change the color of this one, maybe go for a nice vanilla topping, as you can see, it totally like creates this cool donut. So if you've ever wanted donut themed icons, you can now have a great time, which is, cool. Next we've got some sort of person centered ones. So we've got silhouettes of heads, we've got some feet, left and right, with shoes and without. So this is one, this is another. I didn't organize them very well, but I just wanted to make sure that you could tell that this is like an individual foot as opposed to the ones that have 2 feet in them. So that's pretty cool as well. You could also do things like emit one of these little footsteps on like a footfall. So you can go into like the puppet, for example, and make it so that like when their left heel hits the ground, it emits like one of these little text displays under their foot, which is very cool. Next up, we've got the holes, or kind of bullet holes, and these are all really great because if you want to have, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, and you want to have like a nice impact on where you shoot the bullet, it's really great. Or if you want to like sort of make cracks and that sort of a thing. So, for example, if we make a nice sculpt, we can take like one of these text displays, put it on here. I just surface snapped it on. I'm gonna go L1 and square. And then I'm going to change it so you can go hole A or hole B or hole C. So A and B are the sort of black ones, and C and D, so hole C, are the sort of transparent ones. So whoops. So for these ones, what's cool is that you can sort of cha-ching. They can still be transparent, so you can see through them and that sort of a thing, and be onto the other side of the old thing. Sorry, I didn't explain that very well. With these cracks, you can see the color and the substances behind them, which is very cool. Then we've got some new shapes, which are very cool. We've got like, shapes are shapes. What you see is what you get. They're looking very cool. And then we've got some pumpkin themed ones. And the pumpkin one, just like the blank warning sign that we have over here, you can make your own little custom faces if that's your vibe, which is cool. And very much in line with the pumpkin theme. Then, of course, we've got a tree, a Christmas tree, and for some reason, a submarine. But, you know, to each their own vibes. Next up, I'm going to show you the new little, like, loading things that we've got. So we've got the hollow circle on the left, and then we have the solid circle on the right. So there's actually 16 different icons. And the way that I've set it up, friends, is I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. What I have is just a timeline, and it's the absolute shortest length that you can get. So each icon only takes up one frame. You can see these slightly different colored lines. Each one takes up only one frame, and this one is hollow circle 1, and then this is hollow circle 2, hollow circle 3, and so on and so forth. And you can basically use a you don't need this counter, I just did it so it'll sort of play and stuff, but you can basically just connect a timer to this timeline in order to adjust the length that it or the amount of time it takes for this to fill up. So of course, if it's a second, it looks very smooth. We can of course change it now to something like 5 seconds, and so it's not as smooth as you can see over here. It's not like a complete steady smooth rotation, but nevertheless I still think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, it does take a bit of effort in terms of, like, you have to have 16 little text displays in a row on this timeline. And the way that this works, this little timer and timeline situation, is I'm just going to delete it quickly. So what you're going to do is, this is what your time will look like by default. It'll be 5 seconds, and the timer type will be set to count up, right? So what you're going to do is, you're going to get this timer, and you're going to set it to speed. Then you're going to go L1 and X on your timeline, make that a little bit smaller, and you're going to then go timer output over here. It's got the little percentage. You're going to press X on that, and you're going to connect it to the playhead, which is here with the 2 little arrows. So now, no matter how much time this timer is sort of, whether it's, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 1 second, whatever it is, it's going to play it in a certain amount of time. So this is actually a great tip for all sorts of things. So if it's 5 seconds, it'll take 5 seconds to play. So this system basically overrides the timeline's built-in time function and uses it kind of the percentage of the timer, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go to 1 second again, and we can go. So just a bit of like a short way to do this, or not a short way, because it is a little bit tedious, but one way that I sort of did it was, so let's say we're starting from scratch. I mean, I could always just post this online, actually. That would be pretty useful, but I think I will actually do that. What you might want to do is press L1 and then right on the D-pad so that it's nice and big, because by default it'll be kind of small like this. So you're going to go L1 and right on the D-pad. I'm just going to delete all of these first so that I can show you what it's like from the beginning. You're going to go Gadgets. Then you're going to go Text Displayer. And you're going to make it very small, literally the smallest it can get, 1 frame. And you're going to go L1 and square. And you're going to say, let's say solid circle. And you put it between the angle brackets, but you don't put a number on it yet. So you're just going to say solid circle, angle brackets, and just leave it like that. Then you're going to make it so that you go up to the 16th frame. So this is the first, this one is the 5th. So this line over here, the 5th frame is on the left of that line. The 10th frame is on the left of that line, and the 15th is on the left of that line. So the 16th one is just over here. So you're going to go L1 and R2. Put it over here, and then press left on the D-pad a bunch of times until every frame is taken up. Perfect. And now this is the slightly tedious process. You go to the first one, you go solid circle, and you press the number 1. And then you go to the second one, and you press number 2. And you go to the third one, and you go number 3. And so on and so forth until you have the whole sort of system down. You can also make it so that all of these, so it's a little bit tricky to select them all when it's very small. L1 and square, we'll put that in the scene so that they line up nicely there. So as you can see, you get your sort of load vibe going on here. One error that I kept making in the beginning, and originally I thought it was a glitch, but then I realized I was just being silly. Be careful that you don't put any spaces in. So for example, if you put a space in, even if it's afterwards, check what happens. Whoa, whoa. You see it gets slightly off center. So I'll just get rid of the background, I'll get rid of the shadow and the text box. You see it sort of jumps to the left. So at first I was like, oh guys, what is going on? Is there a glitch? But it's just because the amount of spaces I had was, the amount of spaces I had was too many. I had a little extra space afterwards. So if you see that your thing is sort of not aligned, just make sure that there aren't any spaces before or after. But yes, friends, so that's pretty much how you do those sorts of things. And that is pretty much the gist of this new update, friends. So yeah, this was just a short video. I wanted to show you some of the new features. My personal favorites are definitely like the sword. I really like the helmet and stuff. The fact that they added in these icons is really, really cool. And I can't wait to see all the cool things that people make with it. And yeah, thank you for sticking with me, friends, and checking out this update video. I will catch you on the flip-flop. Peace out.